Ah,
Right.
deep. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad. I feel like I'm not sleeping. I don't know. Do you know
Oh
anyone
yeah.
else who's just like vibe coding or testing? Like I'm learning new things. Great, but I'm definitely not
I
sleeping as much.
we haven't slept the last few nights because well, last night we kept expecting Stella to want to come into bed with us because the previous two nights she did, and we kept waiting. It's like, okay, well, when is she gonna start screaming about a nightmare? Because we watched a movie which we thought was going to be okay, and like looking at reviews that like focus on kids and what
Right.
they find scary, it wasn't anything that looked too bad. But it's a fun movie that, oh, you went all fuzzy.
I'm still here. I think
Okay.
my internet's just trying to keep up to you.
But it was National Treasure.
Okay, I haven't seen
You've never seen National Treasure?
it. Mm-mm. I haven't seen
uh
a lot of movies. As we've noticed on the show.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
um
definitely haven't seen it.
oh, worth seeing.
I know you like Nick Cage, and I'm on the fence.
I mean, there's nothing to. I wouldn't say I like him, but it's that was a. What was that one that he was like that early? One of the early ones he was in. Was it Raising Arizona?
That was a good movie. Yeah,
That was him, right?
I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the Coen brothers as well, and I feel like that's unfair
Yeah.
to say, like the Coen
Yeah.
brothers.
I wouldn't say I like reached. I will do anything special because it's Cohen Brothers.
Fair enough.
So
I really like
okay.
the Coen brothers. Yeah, but
What else
that's
have they
okay.
done?
Listen, the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
Oh, quite a few movies. I think the favorite one that I've got would be like The Big Lebowski, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't like
Yes, I believe we've got different taste in movies. Is what like,
that.
or maybe as we found on this podcast, it could be that you're just ahead of me. And
Maybe,
I've just gotta
maybe.
I've
What
got to get
else?
there
What
eventually.
else was there by them?
There were so many like Burn After Reading. I watched three times during
I've never
COVID
seen
because
it.
I had forgotten that it was good and it was just hilarious. No Country for Old Men, Oh Brother Where Art Thou? I think are Miller's Crossing. Those are the ones that
Okay.
people really like. Recently,
Hmm.
oh, Fargo. Fargo is
Yeah, I wasn't a
pretty old
big
and
fan of that.
wow. True Grit, I really liked.
Okay.
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, I
I
also
never
really
saw it.
liked. But yeah,
Okay.
I think I've liked every one of their movies. I'm just looking through. Maybe A Serious Man and Inside Llewyn Davis weren't
Hmm.
as good, but I think I like them
Okay.
all.
Hmm.
You haven't seen like Barton Fink? That doesn't ring
No.
a bell. Oh man. Anyway, big
Okay.
fan.
Okay.
Two brothers. They take turns directing and producing, if I understand it correctly.
Yeah.
And one of them really likes dancing and vomiting scenes. I can never figure out which one is. So you'll know which one it is because
Hmm.
there will be dancing and probably some physical humor, probably vomiting.
Okay.
Sorry to like.
Okay.
I hope we don't get demonetized here.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
but but
Interesting.
but generally a lot of like dancing scenes, so a lot more like maybe comedic even. I'd say
Yeah.
I can't remember which brother it is. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, good
Well,
movies.
Jay
But
Topham is excited about being on time this time.
oh, holy moly,
Yeah.
Topham Hat, here we
Yeah.
go. Let's go. It's
Yeah.
all everything's coming together.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to start with my recommendation from this week, but I'm gonna talk about you know how we're in a vibe coding era and some people aren't
We
looking
are.
at
We
any of the code.
yes.
I think you and I coined the term vibe driven development, but it didn't catch on, whatever. And then
Sure.
vibe coding
Yeah.
seems to have stuck weeks later. Let us
Yes.
be clear,
Yes.
weeks later. So a lot of people are just, YOLOing, yeeting. People are
Yep.
using YOLOing incorrectly, but yeeting things to prod. YOLO being the spirit with which they yeet things to prod,
Hmm.
just to correct the old folks in the chat here who may or may not watch the episodes. The question is, so I guess what really got my dander up is that someone from Anthropic, let's say his name is Boris, maybe he writes something called Cloud Code. And his statement is something along the lines of, I started to figure out that the model understood bash tool calls very well, so I ran with it. And the
Mm,
back of my brain, I'm like, awesome, fantastic
right.
shell commands. And the other side of my brain is like, oh no, it's not the default in Mac OS, which is your default. This is where you want to
Oh,
deploy to. And every time you run a bash command, Mac OS is like, hey, by the way, did you know we have ZSH or ZSH
right.
for like every command, right? It's just, it's built
Yeah.
in, whatever. My understanding is it's using bash 3 by default in Mac OS for legacy reasons, what have you.
Hmm.
And bash 4 in particular is where the license changed. And as a result, Mac didn't include it. I know, yet again, we're talking about shells. I'm getting to something, I promise. So I looked at the license of ZSH, and it actually surprised me. I was surprised it wasn't as permissive as I thought. I think it's GPL. Nothing wrong with GPL, and I think Bash itself is a GPL. Is why they want
Okay.
to remove it. I also understand why they changed the licenses list. Neither here nor there. I do think though, if you're going to pick a shell that the LLM is vibe coding and you're not looking at it, it feels like the shell should be, how do I say this, more like more testable, more easily, more verbose maybe. Well, not exactly as super verbose because tokens matter, but verbose enough, compatible with Bash. Uh, and I don't want to say I landed on PowerShell because I definitely didn't, but PowerShell was in my brain as like something that I would never use. No offense to PowerShell fanatics, that I would never use, but I would be okay with letting an LLM manage or run. And I say this as somebody who got stuck in, I'm pretty sure it was Cursor in the early days, that refused to pick a shell other than PowerShell. And when it wasn't there, would try to install it via Brew, which I thought was hilarious. It was just, no one else I've talked to has had this problem.
Right.
And it's probably because I was writing PowerShell scripts at one point in time, and it's my shell environment, what have you. But I do know when it was running shell scripts in PowerShell, it had a very hard time and had to be careful. And as a result, the scripts that it made were fine. It may have taken a little bit longer, some tokens, blah, 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 blah. I say this as somebody who's now primarily getting these agents to vibe code Rust. And again, I'm kind of being a little bit trolly here. Just Rust is very... there's a fair amount of chagrin in taking Rust and trying to make a tool. And I've used it. Listen, I've made a couple command line apps here and there. Probably not the tool I would pick in order to like quickly pound out a shell script.
Right.
I'd probably offer Python or Ruby or Perl or one of those things that I've used. I know they're not great, but they work. They've been around forever. It looks like, in terms of difficulty and being able to come up with ways of testing your code that are scripts, New Shell is what I landed on. I can't. What I'm trying to say, I can't give this like a glowing recommendation, but the license was good, so I could fork it and play around with it if I needed to. It's really fast. It's written in Rust, which is nice. So it's part of like the same sort of code base. We can reason and rationalize about the same things. It's fairly verbose, and it's got a short extension. It's one token less than ZSH. I assume maybe it's the same token, but I would assume .nu and .sh are similar in terms of token usage. But it is a little bit more verbose, and you can write functions. And you can in Bash. I'm sure you've made Bash functions before. Not like functional, but like just functions basically. And this is that's where I am this morning. I've not necessarily written too much in it. We'll see where this goes. But that was what was in my head. And I thought maybe you would know because like Fish was on the list. And I think Fish has a different license than I expected as well. I thought it was like permissive, but not permissive enough. I'll pull it up anyway. But are there other shells that I'm not thinking about that I think I should have?
No, I mean, I've only used Fish for the last...
That's what I thought.
15 years,
and it's GPL.
20 years.
Okay.
And I mean, and I haven't seen a reason to not use it. I mean, New Shell is, I think I've installed or played around one day and that was like early on. I thought, no.
I think you and I probably tried in 2020, right?
And then
we probably talked to each other about it.
Is New Shell and Nix different?
They are, but it does feel like NixOS tends to something about that. But I see them talked about quite a bit. Like,
Is
here's
Nix
how to
OS or
install
is
Shell.
there a Nix shell?
There's a Nix package manager as well as an operating system. And
Okay,
Nix, the package manager, I think is multi-platform, so you can use it at least in other Linuxes. If
right,
not, I think you may also be able to do some stuff in WSL and maybe
right.
use it on Mac. Again, but you got it. I was looking at Nix
Yeah.
next, and I was like, oh no, have I been in like have I been Nix pilled or like am I now gonna love Nix or something? Well, we'll see. We'll see. I've had a number of rants directed at me about the Nix package manager that I've not asked for, which is
Right.
kind of funny. You know those hallway tracks where people are talking to you about microkernels.
Hmm.
And Nix is the other subject that people want to talk to you about, or Rust. I guess back in the day,
Hmm.
people would want to talk to you about Rust in the hallway.
But
But
I haven't
I've not
heard of
used it.
other shell. I mean, there was a
Right.
time when choosing between Bash and wasn't it B, just B, not Born Again, but just B,
The
just
B shell.
BSH, B shell,
Yeah.
and then K, Corn shell. Is it Corn or
It's
Kernigan?
it's it's corn. Yep,
Okay.
it's corn. And
Um,
I thought it was Kernighan though. Oh, anyway,
yeah.
maybe it's the Kern shell or something. But I thought he made
Um,
it.
and then I don't know what other shells. A C shell
Yeah,
was
C
a
shell
thing.
I've seen. I've never seen B shell. I've heard talk of it.
Yeah.
I've never seen it because I just know BB came before
Right.
I C, and then there may have been A back in the day, but it was like quickly.
Um,
I'm probably just making stuff up now.
yeah, and I can't remember what other shells there might have been. But fish was has been the main thing. And I'm not even sure why I switched when I did, but then I did, and I haven't seen any reason to not use fish.
Do you like the syntax? In particular, I did not like the way functions worked, and I was like, perfect, fob it off to the Gen AI because I'm not going to write this.
Hmm. I mean, I've just found it. I mean, I after
Just
using it
fine.
for so long, it just feels natural.
I'm looking through the rest. I guess X on SH is the only other one I used a long time
Hmm.
ago because it was like basically a Python REPL as a shell,
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
if that rings a bell. Elvish, I do not remember
Hmm.
Elvish
Okay.
shell.
Yeah.
Do you? Okay.
That sounds familiar, but I don't know why.
There's an oil shell and oh, there's ion shell. Sorry for Redux. I did know about that one. Redux OS. Have you heard of this? It's the Rust
Hmm.
operating system that System 76. Well,
Hmm.
one of the System 76 employees started making.
Hmm. No.
All this to say, I'm at the point now where I'm trying to make things a little bit harder for LLMs to do because they get overconfident, if that makes sense. I hate to personify, but Claude will be like, oh, yeah, I can easily pound out a bash script for that. And we'll just generate this terrible,
Hmm.
unmonitorable, just this, like, if you're making a menu item app, you would use switch cases, for
Right.
example. Not to say you have to, but generally when you're reading it, this is kind of the convention. And it seems like Anthropic's models generally will one give you like multiple ifs or nested ifs or what have you.
Hmm.
Anyway, there's just some weird things in there where it feels like to me it's better to write like a shell skill that it can
Hmm.
use when using the shells, and then as a result you get something better, as opposed to relying on the corpus, which could be from the 60s and 70s when it
Hmm.
comes to Bash. Like, and what I think I like about things that aren't necessarily in the corpus is that you have to go slow. I mean, I'm probably training the corpus as well as I do this. We'll leave that. We'll leave that there for now. But it does feel like because you can guide it a little, steer the output a little bit more. It feels like you get better results,
Hmm.
basically. And sometimes those failures that you're seeing are better than Bash isn't installed on this machine. We'll try to use ZSH, and then it I think the one that really kills me is the exclamation points before quotes in ZSH as opposed to Bash, because in the wrong shell it escapes and it doesn't realize it has, and then it will
Oh,
start
okay.
printing stuff as commands in your shell and trying to execute them. This is specifically for Cursor, which yeah,
Hmm.
again has a really hard time with terminals. But yes, exactly. Claude thinks everything's production
Hmm.
ready, won't test the code that it outputs, won't assume that it's bad.
Right.
But in new shell, so far, everything is bad, and as a result, everything's broken, which is the attitude I want. I want my LLM to be like,
Okay, yeah.
everything's broken all the time. We got to go back and fix it. We need to go back one more time and fix it. Like there's always something better because you can always whittle away at these things, and that overconfidence is pretty dangerous. I feel like if you're even just a bash linter would be better, but that's not in there. Like bash border boilerplate for like templates maybe, and I'm thinking if I got to do all this, I might as well pick a shell that I'm never going to use.
Right.
As in, like, I'm not going to be logged into it. It doesn't matter what it
Right.
looks like. I don't care if the Starship prompt is literally a blank character or some Japanese character that we'll never see elsewhere in the operating system so that it knows it's in the right shell. It doesn't matter to me. Whereas if I'm interacting with a shell, which is ZSH, and it's doing things like changing my PS1, the prompt, I'm going to be pretty angry when I go to open up a new tab and I can't do anything because all the defaults are set for machine readable language, basically. Sorry, this is my rant. I put the soapbox away for a bit, but this is what I feel about shells. And then I figured maybe I could ask Matt what he's doing. Are you bashing out? Is that what's happening here?
I mean, I don't think about anything other than fish.
Do you write fish scripts in like Olama or Claude or Codex? Probably.
There have been some, but I mean,
Okay.
for the most part, I mean, what my fish setup has not. I mean, there's some things that I created 10 years ago, and I still use it. I mean, I just don't. I don't need to tweak it that. I mean, occasionally you add the alias or abbreviation, and abbreviations are nice because they kind of is like an alias, but it replaces it after you've typed it. So with the what you're trying to speed up. So when you look at the history, you see the actual command rather than the short command that you typed, kind of a text expander almost thing.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Um,
And I think we were talking about Bolt AI
oh
last
yeah,
time, not Bolt Dev, not whatever, like the app that
yeah.
you would pay for, which I did early on and shut up. They've come out with Bolt 2 that does not have parameter or typing expansion. I was probably in the minority actually using it, which is like, so now they've got, sorry, this is a complete aside, but now they've got two apps. They've got Bolt 1, which has a bunch of features, and Bolt 2, which is supposed to replace it, but Bolt 2 doesn't have all the features. Have you seen this path before?
No.
It's like, it's got it. You've not seen this? I've definitely seen people who are like, we've got the new improved flavor of Coke, but still we're selling classic Coke
Yeah. Okay.
at the same time. And it's like, why would you sell two apps? It doesn't make sense at all. Why wouldn't you just wait till they're all moved over? But it's kind of like, I know with this as Smart Things, we had like the OG Smart Things app, and then we had the Samsung Smart Things app, and some of the features were in the OG app, some of them were in the new app, and it was just like this huge mess that I think begat a third app. Someone in the chat, correct me if I get that wrong, but I think now there's like a third Samsung Smart Things app that unified both, but for the longest time, those features are just gone. And you couldn't get the app at one point in time. It just feels like this way of rolling out features is wrong. And I don't know. I guess I've never been a PM before, so this stuff seems easy to me, but it's probably really hard when you're dealing with an actual product. And you've got clients, and you probably there might be security reasons to do these things, but as a user, it feels weird. Now, you mentioned something just a moment ago about how you've calcified your config here, and I was trying to find an interview. Go ahead.
No, I was like, what did I say? But no, okay. I didn't say anything stupid. Okay.
It was recommended after watching the Lycone. I've been going through and watching a bunch of the Lycone episodes again. The Y Combinator podcast. I don't know what it is. There's something about watching these four kind of argue about things that are going on that I think really helps me. I'm pretty sure the interview was the head of GitHub with the CTO of Anthropic. But regardless, the key point of this whole discussion was at one point, one of the people who was up there on the panel said, what I did was at work, since I can't run YOLO dangerously skip permissions mode, I bought a new laptop that was mine, and brought it to work and installed OpenClaw on it. And my mind just about exploded. Like, oh, what? like, I understand the spirit, but also, are you on like corp Wi-Fi? Are you on public
Right.
Wi-Fi? Is it on the same network as other stuff? Because
Right.
like OpenClaw can do a bunch of stuff. And I think at one point the thing that he said was, I'm using ZSH and it looks amazing, but I have no idea how it got that way. I just prompted it and it made my config. And I was thinking, it might be like maybe it's time for me to vibe code a shell config and see what it looks like. But
Yeah.
also I used to take so much pride in it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that was the thing I really liked, was just
It's like
setting
your
up my
lightsaber.
quote unquote home. Yeah, what color is it a pink lightsaber? Is it a purple lightsaber? You know, let's add some different colors to it. We can't just have red and is it blue? There's some green ones too, red,
Right.
green, and
Right.
blue. Yeah. Yeah,
When
let's
you
go ham.
when you talk about bringing your own machine from it, all of a sudden I had memories of when I had a IT Datadog IT approved rogue access point added to the Boston office.
This sounds terrible for so many reasons.
Uh, it
Amazing.
was it was purely for the Sonos.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because I had with the
It's
Boston
like an
office
IoT
always.
network.
Well, yeah, the Boston office always had music, and I decided to, we should upgrade it to Sonos. So I bought the Sonos myself,
Mhm.
and brought it into the office. Rogue access point allowed people to control it. That part was a mistake, but
Right.
the rest of it was pretty good. And then it was like everybody loved it, and I got reimbursed. Eventually, it's like, whew. Otherwise, it would have come home with me. But yeah, the
I do miss the days of being able to control a speaker on Slack, but also understand that
mm,
there's there's a lot of stuff in there. So I think it's smart things when I visit the Minneapolis office. We could go into a company Slack and either vote on songs or suggest
mm.
songs, and then people could like vote them. So, uh, oh, sorry.
Oops. Oh,
Oh, I didn't do that. You did that.
I
Excellent.
did that. I don't know what I did.
Fantastic. I will continue the story while you figure out what just happened. So what I think I thought was weird was it was on a different network, so I couldn't get on that network, just like you're talking about. So I would
Right.
have to like request songs to employees who would
Mm,
like, put my quarter in the jukebox and or
right.
jukebox and hope for the best.
Yeah. The way we had there was an app called it might have called Festify or something like that. Um and you could vote on songs. You could add songs to the playlist, and the more they got voted on by other people, the higher up they showed up in the playlist. But the problem was that uh, a lot of people in the Boston office had bad taste in music. And so we ended up with it would be like and there were no lyrics. There was some questionable lyrics, and so they'd go from the hardest like rap to country to other weird things to classical to and bouncing all around, and that was a bit much. I ended up having to uh, take it partially private, but also build a little process that would go, and every time somebody would add an item to the playlist, it would check it for lyrics and look for explicit lyrics using the API, and eject that from the playlist if it wasn't any good.
That's pretty
So
smart. I think some things in Spotify aren't tagged, like
yeah.
the e tag. Some of them don't have lyrics either, though, so that can be
Mm.
problematic. But I see what you're getting at. I think in general, letting Bostonians control your music is probably a bad idea. Having never been there, but these are the people who think that donkeys is coffee and donuts. So I think
Yes, yes.
yes. I'm a prejudge their musical taste as a result. I think classical is fine, but it's not for everybody. It's
No,
more like
no,
headphone
and
music.
it's not when it's back to back with something else.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
hardcore hip hop,
yeah,
then country, then classical sounds like
yeah,
a not a
yeah,
great mix. Bad DJ.
yeah.
Topham says that Claude Opus 4.6 has been prod ready, but only for exactly what you tell it to fix from their experience. Now, I will say the exact same thing. Opus 4.6 is phenomenal. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be very careful with the spec or the plan or what have you
Right.
that you give it, because it will build you the most perfectly incorrect.
Right.
Like you can
Yeah.
define this amazing idea that is fundamentally not sound, and it will build it for you without
Mm-hmm.
telling you that it's fundamentally not sound. I've been trying to make my own file type just because like
Okay.
as you're trying to test Gen AI, you have to go further down the stack.
Sure.
So I got down to URLs, MIME types, job definition language. Have you heard of this
Mm-hmm.
before? Or job markup language? Have
No.
you ever had a system where it dealt with tasks? Have you ever built a queue? It's come on, man. Have you ever built a queue? I have not.
Not
I have not.
since college in '88.
Right? A link list is all
Yeah.
I got from university.
Yeah.
That's it. At work, I've been playing with something called Open Lineage. So Open Lineage is kind of like Hotel Baggage in that if
Okay.
a task or something is going around, it gets little stamps on it. Or if you're thinking about like your passport, it would get stamps back in the day. Or your luggage, maybe you're putting stickers
Right.
on your baggage, something like that. So as it goes through the system, you can figure out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
This is because sometimes problems get introduced into files and you're not sure where they
Mm.
came from, and they weren't necessarily committed to the repo or even locally. And as a result, you have no idea what happened or why it happened.
Mm-hmm.
This is a problem that's probably going to go away. But I think, to be clear, I have still been using Gastown in not in anger, but something akin to anger.
Uh-huh.
Like you've got a great idea. I really hate the implementation. Let me see if I can understand the
Right.
idea.
Right.
And in particular, I think I've been complaining about it ever since, but Beads, which is now Dolt backed, I think I
Okay.
brought up last time. Dolt's its own thing. JSON-L is its own thing. And I saw an interview with Steve the other day where he said that he just didn't like Markdown with front matter. This is like the key
Hmm.
problem, is that he didn't want to make something that was a bunch of Markdown files in front matter. So, maybe I'm contrarian. I figured I'd think, why not? Why couldn't it be front matter?
Right.
What do you need? I will say one of the key problems with Gastown, I'm going to try to record something a little bit better about this. Maybe not here, but elsewhere. I'll point you to it when I do. But the key thing that Steve's trying to do is get work done. The key deliverable of Gastown is a bunch of things. Like there's beads, right. There's the mayor, like the definitions, it's a bunch of stuff. But ideally, the goal is to have agents self-assemble, work on things,
Right.
and give you the product without you looking at it.
Right.
Now, to do so, I think it's key to define what you're doing.
Right. Right.
And right now, the way we define all this stuff is Markdown with front matter. It's kind of the de facto. It's not the best. It's kind of like YAML and Kubernetes. It's also not the best. The other thing that I found out is that perhaps Steve may have originally thought about this being on Kubernetes, and as a result was then collapsing down the layers into something smaller. And I think within an app, you could probably do that. In fact, I did do just that for funsies, but it ended up being like an 8,000 line Rust file, which is not great. You don't want one file that's like that long. It's not good for your model. It's not good for you. It's hard to understand. If you split it out, it ends up being like 30 different files that do things. Still fairly complicated for what you're doing. And then I started to think like, okay, we've been passing messages and tasks for a very long time in this industry.
Right.
I'm not sure the 60s, but probably the 70s at least, we'd have like a job, a task definitions.
Yeah.
There's RFCs. Like this feels like a form. I've mentioned before, it's like one of those building blocks. A calendar or a schedule is another one of those building blocks. But what is the job or the task or the definition? And I came across this app called, I think it was called Emacs, something called org mode. And I was like, of course Emacs has already defined what a job is and understands how to pass them around. There's also an XML definition. I think it's JDML is the XML job type. And then there's things like Mesos actually had a job definition. Kubernetes did, of course, have other things. And then taking all these together, I was thinking, okay, what's interesting about Mac OS? Like, what can we do with Mac OS? So one of the things I think Steve may have forgotten is that APFS compresses by default. and has built-in deduplication, which Beads just
Mm.
does not use. None of this. So
Mm-hmm.
Beads can get pretty big. In fact,
Right.
there can be a lot of stuff going on the disk. If you're using work trees and it's a big repo, that's a copy of the repo for every work tree that you're making. So
Right.
it's a lot of data. And the last thing is that just it's overcomplicated. All you're doing is just moving a file around. So I ended up looking at, I think it's RFC 583, but it's like the header format for email. So could we take a job and like move it around? What does it look like? Or like, what does the task need? Or can I have like a link to Tmux sessions because that's what he's doing? I think you ran into a limit of 500 sessions as well in macOS, which
Right.
sounds like something you'd never hit. But when you're like stopping and starting jobs that fail all the time, you'll hit 500 in like an hour, no problem. Anyway, all this to say, as you start dealing with LLMs and trying to make harder and harder problems, you go further and further down the stack. And it feels like making the problems hard means that you'll have success. Whereas if you make it easy, it's going to assume things are working. And you may as well,
Mm-hmm.
where it's not working at all. And
Mm.
this is where I'm at. So how do we make a file? How do we make a job system? What does Gastown actually teach us? Because it's all right, but it's pretty far from something that you would want to let loose in a corporate
Right.
environment right now. Maybe you're putting a VM
Yeah.
isolated, what have you. But what do we learn from nudging? What do we learn from the mayor, from the deacon, et cetera, et cetera? Well, is there like a Toyota way lesson that you can find in here?
Right.
And I think there is. And I think a lot of this is just going to disappear when the models get better, of course. But right now, we still do need something to like trust but verify. Basically, have you really done
Mm-hmm.
the work that I told you to do?
Hmm.
This is what I've been doing, Matt. Making file types,
Wow. Wow.
file extensions. What have you been up to?
Okay. Well, I think last time and the time before we talked a little bit about browsers.
Yeah, it's another one of our favorite topics. Yes.
I have found another browser that I
What?
think is.
Where are you finding these? And it's
I
not
don't know.
Ladysmith.
Orion.
Okay. Ladybird. Orion. Is that the
by
Perplexity one?
Kagi.
Okay.
What? And so Kagi has a search that you can pay for.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked
And
about
this
this a long time
Orion
ago.
browser, it lets you use extensions that are you can use Firefox extensions, Chrome extensions, and Safari extensions all in the same browser,
Whoa. Oh. Well, that's pretty powerful.
which is pretty interesting. And it has
Huh.
the tabs on the side where they should be. And
Debatable, but sure. Can they be moved?
they can be moved to the wrong place, sure, but they're in the yeah.
Some people have monitors that go like this. I can understand why you'd want to have the tabs at the top and a monitor like goes like that.
Sure. Okay. Well, there are some people that are wrong. Sure, I understand that. But yeah, so I just started playing around with it, and the reason why I started playing around with it was I wanted to make it. I mean, I know I can have profiles in other browsers, but something that is obviously not mine. And so, when using tools like whether it's OpenClaw or something else where you potentially want to have a different identity for that agent or set of agents, have something that's logged in as them so I can see their email and all their information. And so that's why I start playing around with Orion.
There's people in the chat that are also wrong. I just like we'll ignore them for a moment and talk just a little bit about the site. So when I go to Kagi Welcome, in here one of the things is like search that serves ads is on their things. In the search that they've got, they were looking for Postgres SQL query analysis, I think is how you say that word.
Uh-huh.
The first sponsored result is this company called Datadog with slow Postgres. And I was like, shoot, are we part of the problem? But yeah, I think there are some side tab fans for sure. Personally feels like I can get a lot more icons this way than I can this way, but that is also a problem.
What?
There's more screen real estate wider than tall on a horizontal monitor, for sure.
The tab takes this much space going that way versus this much space.
It's this big. I've got so many tabs, and all you see is like a
Oh, all
smushed
you see
icon.
is an icon. Well, then they're useless.
Absolutely useless. I almost
Yeah,
should have a tab less environment.
yeah.
I think is what I need to do. Just get
And
rid of the
what was
problem
it?
completely.
There were. I mean, there've definitely been tools where if you close
There's tab groups.
the close the tab for long enough, then it pauses, and then
Suspender.
much longer, then it like just gets rid of it.
Yeah, I think that was the Great Suspender, which I
Yeah,
remember because it got
it
sold or something and
it had a
started to
problem.
distribute.
Yeah,
Yeah. Two ultra. Two ultra wide monitors. Okay, this would be an interesting one.
yeah. I have an ultra wide monitor, and I hate having tabs on the top.
Really?
Yeah,
I,
it's
I,
just
I feel like the tabs are the problem. The more
once I
concession.
finally, I mean, the first browser I started using that had the tabs on the side was Arc, and it was like, oh my god, why? Yeah, how could I not? Why did I not do this before? Um, yeah.
If
So,
if each
so
tab has similar overhead, I feel like we should just make like thousands of browser windows. Why not just get rid of the tab completely? And we don't have to have this discussion.
so another thing that so switching
I like it
gears.
was just skating by. Yeah, moving on.
So another thing that we talked about was the Zellage versus Tmux versus screens, I think. Um,
I am all in on Zellage, but Wes term came up in combo the other day.
okay,
I don't know
well,
about you.
there's also CMux.
What?
cmux.dev.
I've been doing extensive
cmux cmux.dev.
extensive research. How did you find this? Nice. Oh, it's AGPL. Okay, that's probably why I didn't come up with my search. But that's not a bad thing. People are it's fine to do this. This is it because it's got left hand side tabs?
I don't yeah, okay, sure, but no.
It can
But
do horizontal and vertical tabs. So I don't know if it means that
it
at the
looks
same time.
interesting.
It does look interesting. There's a
Um
homebrew tab, homebrew cask. Oh yeah. Okay. So I think the main reason that they're looking at this is the exact reason I'm looking at it is like Ghosty with Claude code and multiple
yeah.
tabs, sorry, multiple panes is not a good experience. In fact, I've crashed Ghosty numerous times, probably
Mhm.
nothing to do with Ghosty, probably more to do with Claude code, but it can get pretty hairy pretty quickly. And I
Right.
haven't found another terminal other than Mac OS
Mhm.
terminal.app, which I do not like, that won't crash. It's the
Right.
only crash proof one I found, and I'm really not a fan of the default terminal. This is interesting.
And then a complete so I haven't played with this at all. I mean, I think I might have. No, I don't know. I don't think I've even played with it. But another one that is another thing that's interesting is worktrunk.dev.
Oh, oh, we're talking about similar things here. Here we go. Tell me about work trunks.
This is worktree management for get worktree management.
Right?
It. I just watched a video. I thought, oh, that looks pretty cool. Because I've often thought about work trees before, but there's like enough things that you have to do to. I just couldn't like just really wrap my head around it. And Work Trunk seems to do a lot of the stuff for you around work trees, but make them and work trees become more interesting when you are working on multiple versions of the product all at the same time, which you don't
Gotcha.
often do as a human, but maybe you do with agents.
Absolutely, you do. Yeah. I wonder, have you played around with JJ Jujutsu? I keep trying to
So
say
that
Jujitsu, but it's
the
Jujutsu.
person that was talking about this in a video was talking about jujitsu, and I'd never played with it. I mean, I think I'd seen it, but no, we might have even talked about it on here. But I didn't. I don't. I have not played with it.
It seems that okay. I think the main thing for me is that I'm trying to split off a folder that's not in Git that is part of Git, and Worktrees does that, but I don't think Workspaces does, if that makes sense. So I thought
Workspaces.
it did. So let's say that you've got a Git repo
Hmm.
and it's got like a bunch of stuff in there. You want to make some changes, but you've got 10 agents that want to make 10 changes to the README, for
Right.
example. I was looking at Stack PR. So it's like the thing, the
Mm-hmm.
output of what I want to use to like merge it back in. Yeah, honestly, the merge handling problems are here once in a while or there once in a while.
Right.
But that's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is keeping agents out of each other's folders, which is like a
Hmm.
massive, massive problem. And JJ doesn't seem to fix that problem for me, at least. Also, I just talked about using things that the agents are not familiar with. It feels like when they're not familiar with JJ, they don't do cool things. They do bad things,
Mm-hmm.
dangerous things, and the GH command is safer actually
Right.
in this case. So I might actually look at this. This is probably a good idea.
The video that I saw about this was by
Oh, but
um
JJ has an op log, an operation log, which I really do like. Interesting.
hmm,
I'm just looking at pros and cons here of work trees versus workspaces. But I think this is one of those problems that we're all kind of working on
yeah.
together. We're all trying to figure out like, hey, I want multiple agents working on multiple projects, and there could be multiples of multiples in one project at a time. What does that look like? Are you trying to find your YouTube
Yeah,
history
I'm
to
trying to
figure out which
find
video?
who did I
I
watch?
tried to do that earlier. That's why I didn't know
Oh,
the names of the people
DevOps
who are on that panel.
DevOps Toolbox is
Oh,
the
okay,
YouTube channel. And the title is 99% of developers don't get work trees.
very cool. Use work trees instead. Yeah, I think the other thing is what we were talking about earlier. Like if we're gonna have multiple folders that are the same
Mm-hmm.
tree on the same disk from the same branch,
Right.
it sounds to me that this should be zero overhead, and it's not.
Right.
And maybe this is one of the things that I was trying to fix with the file format, but like some of this could just be hints on like how to use a file system for Claude, like the ditto command, for example,
Mm-hmm.
or CPR, the small R, not big R, in
Mm-hmm.
order to do like copy on write operations, so that
Mm-hmm.
it's like zero overhead, at least at the start. So you can create zero overhead copies and like it takes no time. A lot of that stuff is not being hinted at or used in the models, and as a result, we're just wasting space. Which is what the real anger here, like I'm gonna start yelling part, is Docker desktop running out of 60 gigabytes of space all the time, to the point that what my strategy now is to like drag it all the way to 8 gigabytes and then just wipe it and start again, because it just, so I'm running containers in Docker Desktop. Docker
Mm-hmm.
Desktop uses a VM on Mac OS,
Right.
and that VM itself gets chock full of garbage
Mm.
all the time, all the time, all the time. And it, like, there's no clean way of making sure that it doesn't do that, as far as I
Mm.
can tell. And this is just like any VM on any operating
This
system.
is
It's
a
just going
problem
to
I have
hit
not
a certain
experienced.
limit. Really, this is a problem I've had for 5 years. I am
I've
so angry at Docker Desktop that I've been developing
I
my
I
own
have a lot of
as
stuff that
basically
runs in Docker
Polina and
on
Yepkit.
Docker
Yeah.
Desktop, and I never see
Mhm.
this problem.
Do you have agents building containers on
No.
Docker Desktop? This is why. So it's like
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
generally build artifacts, and I think it's
Okay.
buildx is the command that it runs, but it
Mm.
generally leaves artifacts there, and it'll just whatever. It's really easy to clean because you just drag the slider to the left to 8
Right.
gigs, and it'll wipe the VM and start a new one. It's supposed to shrink it. It doesn't. But every time it updates,
Hmm.
or like every other update for Docker Desktop, which seems to be multiple times a day,
Right.
sometimes. Anyway, we'll leave that there. It seems to reset it back to 64 gigabytes as the
Hmm.
default, which, like, on a 1 terabyte laptop is not great. Mac OS takes about 10% of your disk.
Mm-hmm.
It takes almost 80 gigs now
Right.
for Mac OS. And as a result, you've got like it's not a terabyte that you have. It's really like 900 gigabytes minus
Mm-hmm.
100, so you're now down to 800 gigabytes, which again sounds like a lot unless you're making VMs, and then
Right.
it just goes away so quickly. But all of these work trees, depending on the size of the repo, will add up to a lot if they're not deduped or compressed or what have you. APFS is supposed to compress all the folders, which is great, but if they're literally the same, then it should have no more overhead. Sorry. I'm pretty ranty today. Maybe it's the coffee I
Okay.
had this morning.
I got another thing that I found that I'm kind
Mm,
of digging.
I'm loving this. That we're doing the tools episode.
Mole,
MOL or MOLE?
MOLE. So it's on github.com/TW93/mole, MOLE.
TW93. Ooh. Oh, yeah. So for those of you who don't have GitHub looking at this repo, it says deep clean and optimize your Mac. But in particular, it's got like a little, is it a mouse?
It's a
I don't think
mole.
it's a mole. I don't think that emoji is a mole.
It's not? I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's a weird character with this weird arm attached to it. Or semi-attached.
It's a hamster. I
Is it a
had to Google
hamster?
it. Yeah, I had to translate the emoji. It's
Okay.
definitely a hamster. This looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is kind of like what I'm getting at. Is
This
that
this is
so? The
this is
next step
interesting
when you
because
run
it
into this, yeah.
yeah, go. You go.
Well, the next step that the agent's going to run out of space, and the next thing it's going to do is try to delete the VM that it's in, or like some other VM that's
Right.
running, or like your kind cluster, which I do a lot of kind stuff, so of course that takes up space too. But yes, this would be much easier to say, hey, use mole. Don't just YOLO delete stuff while I'm sleeping.
So I don't know if Mole does the purging on Docker, but it
I can see that
does
though.
it goes through all the things. I mean, you have to be if there are you have to I mean, you might want to do dry run first because it's pretty aggressive in what it gets rid of. But it's awesome. I mean, it doesn't get rid of like files that there's only one copy of, but it does get
It
rid
gets
of a
rid
lot
of
of caches.
it gets rid of Spotify and Slack caches, which drive
Yeah.
me up the wall. So I use both as web apps now because I can't
Oh,
stand the
okay.
amount of space that they take. Yeah, I generally will buy like the 1 terabyte laptops, and this is probably my fault.
Oh, yeah, that's
Uh, y-
dumb.
you know, but like I got a NAS. This should be a
Yeah.
solved problem.
I mean,
Oh,
I
right
can
on.
barely survive on only a 4 terabyte disk on my MacBook Pro.
Wow. All right. I kind of feel like when I buy them, I think it's a forcing function because like the photos shouldn't be on here anyway. The stuff should not
Hmm.
be on here anyway. But at the end of the day, sometimes I do need
Yeah.
5 VMs running at once just for funsies. This is cool. I also like these spark lines that are in here. Have you played with spark lines
Oh,
before?
it's been a long time, but that I've thought anything about Sparklines. Oh yeah, I see it now.
Hmm.
Um,
And I guess some of these are just like ANSI graphs, but the way that you can show visually, like BTOP does a really good job of this, or ATOP
I
or
mean,
HTOP, I guess back in the day.
we have on our bookshelf the Tufty books that talk about Sparklines.
No way.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm a massive fan. I think I learned about this in finance, but being able to
Hmm.
show a graph in a
Yeah.
small space is actually a really big deal. Jay Topham says 2 terabytes is restricting for them. I
Yeah.
think this is what I'm after, the restriction. But of course, now I'm complaining about the fact that we use too much space. So that's on me. This is sweet.
Yeah.
Node modules. Yes, there's another problem.
Yeah.
Build targets. The other thing that
And
I'm noticing is that
it won't clean up things like node modules that you've built in the last week, but anything
that's
older
cool.
than that, it will clean up. And it takes a
And I
while
like.
to run because it's
I
going
could see
through
that.
so much stuff, and it takes and yeah, definitely, it's not a 5 minute. Let's just clean things up. It's start it running and come back in a half hour.
Very interesting. And I think the other thing in here is that they say they can be used by this quick launcher called Raycast.
Hmm.
Sure if you've used that before.
Yes, once or twice
It seems like
per
an ad for their terminal
once
though.
or twice per hour.
TW93 also released a terminal called Kaku, a terminal emulator, sorry.
Hmm.
And it seems like this feature is Mole says it runs better with Kaku, which I thought
Hmm.
was interesting. It's another one of these ecosystem plays where
Right.
when you're vibe code and stuff, so you end up creating a whole ecosystem.
Apparently there was some negative feedback because the guy is Chinese.
I mean, people
So
come from all over.
yeah, that's the only downside I've heard, and that some people did not like that. But Yeah, I mean, it's like,
The fact that they came from
okay.
a certain country.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's enough people in some countries that will think, oh, because of where they were born, therefore they have allegiance to the current government of
Oh,
where they were born, which, oh, that's a bit
well, we can ignore that for a moment. When I go to the terminal, the top contributor is Wes. So I have
oh,
a feeling this is a fork of Wes term.
interesting.
Just a guess.
Yeah.
Wes Furlong is the top contributor, so I would assume the TW93 forked this and then made it their own, the
Hmm.
Kaku term. Um,
Oh, the
and
terminal? I haven't.
yeah, and
I
as a
don't know anything about
result,
Kaku.
not to throw any shade to the way of this, but is Copilot GitHub Actions? Okay, right on. I feel like Mole itself is its own thing.
Yeah, I have not. It says Kaku is a deeply
Oh,
customized fork of WesTerm.
there you go. There you go. And then in Mole, I think I understand why it takes so long. It's all written in Bash. Did we not just talk about this? Matt, if you're gonna pick an app to like write, would you write it in Bash?
Oh my god.
This could probably all be ported over to Python, which is going to be
Yeah.
slightly faster, and then from there you
Yeah,
could
I mean
probably go to Go.
I mean one thing that that kind of reminds me for upgrading, when you
Mhm.
go through all the different tools to like upgrade all the things in Brew and in
Right.
I sometimes use a tool called TopGrade.
Ooh, look at this. We're having a great tools episode today.
Um, so TopGrade is written in
Nice.
Rust.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, and it's have you seen this logo for Top Grade?
Yeah, Top Gun logo.
Yes. This is
um,
perfect.
and it goes through everything, and for a while, I might still have it going. I think I had like put it into a Mac service, so it ran every day at like 2 a.m.
This is really cool. Thank you. I think this is where we're at. We're like building an operating system that can like I'm not gonna name OpenClaw again or Gastown, but like if you're trying to think of an agent and you want to contain it, then there's
Right.
some problems that are gonna evolve around it. Even if you give it a Mac Mini or like I don't know, some dark horse laptop that you're bringing to work, like you want to make sure that you're updating it, that it's secure. There's a lot of things you need to think about. I like this, and it is available for NixOS. So there we go. It's top grade in NixOS.
And then one other thing I found.
Ooh, I like it. What
Well,
else we
okay,
got?
so I mean, the main thing isn't new. I mean, I've been a Obsidian user for ages, years since.
I still haven't. I'm sorry. I said I would by this episode, and I still have not. Other than
So
I think it now.
so Obsidian a couple weeks ago they added a CLI command, with the
Okay.
idea that agents would be able to interact with Obsidian, but when they first released it, one of the big downsides was that you had to install it had to be on a machine that had the GUI. It was a CLI that was a like a CLI front end to the GUI that existed on that machine.
Interesting.
And that is no longer the case.
Hmm.
And so now they've got um, Obsidian Headless, and which works with their sync. So you can have a headless sync on a remote machine that synchronizes your Obsidian Vault or a part of your Obsidian Vault, or so, just one directory of it or all of it, and it works so flawlessly. I mean, the only one thing that's a downside or one thing that's not there, that I mean, you ask your favorite LLM to come up with the service definition, but to automatically have it start, when you start up the machine, and automatically start when it crashes. Um, but other than that, it's great. I mean, and so I just run ob sync continuous, and it just continuously syncs with what any changes you make on, I can make it on this machine or on my laptop upstairs or on my Obsidian mobile client, and it just syncs everywhere, and that's
Nice.
pretty magical.
I thought, and I might be wrong, I thought a lot of people were storing Obsidian in iCloud. And I know that doesn't mean you can all use it at the same time, but was that what people were doing prior to this to sync?
Um, so sync has been available for 3 4 years, but there's definitely
Okay.
some people that don't want to pay $4 a month for
Mm,
syncing. Um,
gotcha.
and so they go through all these extra hoops to get syncing to work with other tools, whether that's backing up the thing to GitHub and then restoring that backup to other machines automatically every 5 minutes, do that sync, or do it via iCloud, or do it via some other tool. There's rsync, or what's another one, thing, the sync thing, I think. uh
Syncing. Yep.
all sorts of that. And just Obsidian Sync just works perfectly. It's so flawless. I've never I mean I use it a lot, and it's really hard to break it. So it's so little money. I pay it once a year, and I don't think about it.
Very cool. I just went to look it up to see if I could request a license or what have you in the Corp IT portal, and it looks like the Obsidian commercial license is now optional. So you can use it at work without necessarily paying for
Oh,
it,
okay, yeah.
basically. As of last February,
Okay.
February 20th,
Of
2025. So
of
I guess it's been a
2025.
year
Okay.
since I've last looked at
Hmm.
Obsidian licenses. So I should do this. Very interesting. I can at least try it now. Very
Yeah.
cool.
I saw that there was a Theo video like today. I think it's titled like "I'm so sick of Obsidian" or something like that.
Yesterday, oh Theo,
I don't
do
know
you
what he
want me to give
said.
you the Cole's notes? I
What did he
mean, okay,
say?
so okay. One thing, obviously, Theo tried to vibe code his own note taking.
Okay.
We'll put that there.
Uh-huh.
The other thing is like the video is in response to Notion going down because he's a Notion user. It's
Oh, okay.
primarily about Notion,
Okay.
and the first part of the video is all about him hating on Obsidian for what I think are the wrong reasons. As he's a Notion user, as am I. I'm also a Notion user.
Hmm.
Notion and Obsidian are two completely different apps that do
Hmm.
completely different
Right.
things, and I think comparing them is bad.
Hmm.
But his friends keep doing it, so maybe he should talk to his
Yeah.
friends and not make the YouTube video with the
Right.
wrong title.
Right.
But again, people are gonna watch Theo's video because he's crashing out. I think he even says in that video like crash out content's his highest interact. Like, of course it's your. Come on,
Yeah.
man. That doesn't mean you need to like, you know, don't badmouth Obsidian just because it's
Right.
not Notion.
Right.
Anyway, it's sorry. That got my dender right up. I was like, I get it. It went down, but this is not,
Hmm.
it's not an Obsidian problem. And of course, he tried to like vibe code something. He's like, "Hey, it's still working out, whatever."
Yeah.
He also, I think, was trying to maybe advertise T3 chat, his or T3 code, his
Right.
command line coder thing that he was working on at the time. So, yeah, I guess I just have as well. Fantastic.
Mm.
I'm not saying you should go use it, uh,
Right.
but it does exist. It felt to me like the video was really poorly thought out. As somebody who did not give Obsidian a good try, like
Right.
I've seen Obsidian, I understand what's going on. I
Right.
also have played with Emacs org mode. Like I understand why
Right.
people use it, but it's not Notion, and I don't think in like it feels like it's I don't know, a little bit backstabby to recommend, like, oh, don't
Mm.
worry about Notion. You can just do all that in Obsidian. It's like, yeah, I mean, go ahead and create all these features yourself, and maybe you could, like extend the product to a whole bunch of stuff. But like, what Notion does and what Obsidian does are two different and often compatible ways of
Right.
information gathering. I don't think it's like one or the other, or like this one does that. Anyway, it was a false dichotomy. It was a typical straw man thing, and I think the goal, as far as I could tell, was the ad read and the fact that he was building something that he vibe
Hmm.
could. I mean. Eh. That's my take on that video,
Hmm.
which I did watch,
Hmm.
and I came away with not so happy. Um, SyncThing was in the chat. I used SyncThing. Is this the paid one for years, or is SyncThing the free one? SyncThing may be the free one. Is it not? Let me have a look. I think it is. It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used Sync Thing for free for years. It was
Yeah.
great. I don't know. Seems fine to me. We're almost at that time. Did you have any
Yeah.
recommendations that weren't tools that we missed? Mine was New Shell. Sorry to spoil it. It's
Mm,
something that I have not tried, but have made my Gen AI agents try.
um, I don't think. I don't think I. Uh, I don't think I
It's
got
around.
anything.
Well, you
Yeah,
just give us a number of tools.
we spent the weekend cleaning up the garage.
Ooh.
And so we have these I think they're Home Depot shelves, garage shelves that are about like 8 feet tall by 2 feet wide by about 8 feet long. And so along the one wall of the garage there's three of those, so about 24
Hmm.
feet long of shelving. um but when you pull in the car, you kind of have to go in at a bit of an angle. You come in and then you kind of turn into the middle of the garage in order to be able to open doors on both sides.
Hmm.
And so we wanted to move, and um, so the I guess the garage itself is about, let's see, I think we measured it about 27 feet wide, but it's
I'm
about,
swimming in feet here. Is that a two-car garage?
I think most two-car
Two,
garages
two, two metric cars?
are probably most two-car garages are probably more like 16 feet or
Okay.
17 feet long wide. I mean, it's a
Okay, so it's
two-car
like a
garage.
three-car garage.
It's a
Okay.
two-car
But it's
garage. I
just
mean, there's
wide.
two doors. It's just super wide, and it's got between the two cars. If they go in straight, you'd have 8 feet, 9 feet between them.
Okay. It's ample room. Okay,
Um,
gotcha.
and then from the front to the back is about 32 feet, and a
Hmm.
car is like 16 feet
Yeah.
long. So it would be, you could have two cars back to back in it. And so we just shifted all those shelves to the back, to the back, so that is more of a almost warehouse like, but move all those shelves in, and it's just so much more space now. So we're very excited. So we're trying to make room for when we do get that second car, which is again
Gotcha.
probably going to be the Lucid Gravity, but who knows?
I was looking at this oh Range Rover Defender. Yeah, the
Mm,
Land Rover Defender, sorry.
yeah.
It was just me walking down the street in Yaletown looking at cars. And in front of it was a G Wagon, which is
Hmm.
like a Mercedes, basically.
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking about the like what I'd want to see in a Lucid. I think I might really like boxy
Hmm.
SUVs,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure if newer SUVs are going to look boxy like that.
So, I mean, I've seen a bunch of videos that, like where they're mechanics talking about cars, and they'll list out what are the worst cars you can buy.
Oh, the Defender's got to
Um,
be up there, right? It's
well,
either the
anything,
engine or the electrical.
Land Rover, anything,
Okay,
since
fair.
because it's a Chinese, I think it's a Chinese company. Not that Chinese is bad, but this
It's quality
particular instant,
assurance. Yeah,
it is,
it's changing
apparently
manufacturers.
it is a terrible, ever since that happened, although
That's
the
awful.
those evokes look pretty cool, but they're
They
just
do.
terribly made. um is the what these
I,
people are saying.
I think it's slow horses. I keep watching that stupid show and thinking the cars look nice because there's so
um
many Land Rovers in it.
but the G wagons are apparently popular in the US because, um for commercial, if you have a business,
Yeah.
a G wagon is heavy enough to get into that commercial weight class, and so if you buy
Oh,
one of those, you can, through taxes, basically it's almost like a free car,
no. So it's like a company car
a
or what have
company
you. Gotcha.
car.
You can essentially write
Um,
it off.
we have a
Huh.
few friends that have them, and they love them. But if you like the Defender, and especially if you like the old style Defender,
I do. Sorry, I was about to say, yeah, the new style is more rounded. It
yeah,
kind of, it's not a Lucid, but they have similar design.
then in um Defender, there's the Ineos, Ineos,
I've heard
Ineos
of these.
Grenadier.
Yeah, I've only seen commercials for these. I've never seen one in real life. Oh, it's
There
British. Okay.
is it British or French? I think it's
It's
French.
British. Yeah, they say British. Well, they being the Google AI, so who knows? It could be French,
So
but
go
it
to
says British. Yeah,
ineosgrenadier.com.
will do.
Um, it's the guy who created it has a company called Ineos, which is, I don't know what they do, some oil, gas kind of like big, that kind of a big company.
It
Um,
looks great though. Look how boxy this is, like the old
it
Jeeps.
gets it gets like 10 miles a gallon.
Fantastic. But
Um,
you're safe though, right? For those 10 miles?
yeah, yeah. The apparently the turning radius is terrible.
It is fairly
Um,
long. Okay.
and but there are quite a few of them here on Bainbridge Island,
Hmm.
and I've talked to a couple of people that have them, and they say you look at the specs and it is terrible, but it is my favorite car I've ever owned.
I really like that trunk space that kind of looks like an
Hmm.
IKEA shelving unit where you can
Yeah,
like, the one that's got the dog in a cage and the rubber boots on the right
yeah,
of it. So if the
and
dog is not dirtied by the boots, it's like, yes. How did they know?
and every person I've talked to that has one, they've all said, growing up, the Defender was my dream car, and then they stopped making that style.
Right.
And so this is the new, and there's actually a dealer in Seattle that sells them. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting looking car.
Okay, so I made the mistake of clicking on vehicle configurator because I'm sure they're going to
Oh
call
yeah.
me in like 5 minutes here because this is how for those of you who have not shot for a car in a minute, as soon as you click on like any ad, anything, anywhere, you will be inundated with all types of car stuff, and people like literally will call you if you
Yeah.
start to configure something on the sites. But in Canadian dollars,
Hmm.
looking at the station wagon or the quartermaster, they start at roughly 100K. I would assume in
Yeah.
USD that's about 75,
Yeah,
70K.
the station wagon starts at 71, then the quartermaster is 80, 84, and then there's other ones that don't list a price.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
the Fusilier,
Yeah.
Fusilier. These are expensive cars. Really nice
Yeah.
though. Something to,
Yeah.
to dream about when my AI
Yeah,
startup
it
that I'm making up
it's
in my head right
the
now kicks off.
idea of, I mean, the Volvo is bad enough at like 23 miles a gallon.
Right.
Um, and so these at like 12 is a little too painful.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I'm surprised how many I see of these on the island.
And they're not
And you
diesel,
don't
right? I
need
didn't
them.
see that anywhere.
Huh?
Yeah, of course you don't need it. It's like any SUV or truck. Generally, people don't need them. Yeah.
No, no. Although I remember a long time ago when I was still working at Microsoft, and I was living in Redmond. There was light snowfall, and all these people with like four-wheel drive SUVs, leaving them on the side of the road and walking. And it was like the lightest possible dusting. Just people were not used to snow at all. And so it's like, oh my God, there's white stuff.
Yeah, all weather tires are amazing. Yeah, it's like it's somebody from New Brunswick who lives in Canada. They're pretty cool. All
four
right, so
four
on that
wheels
note,
all.
everybody,
Yeah.
yeah, go out, come up with a business idea that will make Matt and I Ineos Grenadier money, and then we'll talk to you once we get one in so we can review it. It,
Yes,
it looks
yes,
phenomenal.
yes.
The numbers I'm looking at here combined are 15.7 liters per 100 kilometer, which is it's not great. That's actually like really bad.
But
Like
if you
city 16, highways 15.3. Like it's not great.
but if you found yourself in a 6-foot deep puddle, muddy puddle, you could probably get out of it.
Fair enough. All
Yeah.
right. So thank you, folks, for all of the comments.
Thank
That was
you. Yes.
fantastic. We had Sean J. Topham. That was lovely. I think we
Yeah.
peaked at around 12 people watching at the same time.
Did we
which is
really?
phenomenal. We absolutely did.
And we got a
I
thumbs
don't know.
down.
Oh, there you go. We were probably talking about expensive cars. I mean, for the rest of it, we were pretty much on point. We were talking
I think
about
so.
AI,
I think
AI
so.
tools for agents. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it was
Agents are your new consumer. What do your tools need to be?
Maybe it was because somebody was offended at me calling, suggesting that side tabs are the way to go.
Yeah, oh,
Yep.
they're not wrong. Should we leave it at that? All right, folks.
Okay. Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.